Sego, Nganyagahaga, Stephanie Van Hoos. I am Mohawk, Mohawk Bay of Quinte, Tyndonega Mohawk Territory, and I am the visionary behind REACH. We are very excited. November is Native American Heritage Month, and I'd love for you to join us on November 19th. Our REACH Festival is focusing on a medicine wheel. REACH stands for Reconciliation, Representation, Education and Equity, Advocacy and Allyship, Ceremony, Community, our children, our culture. The H is for healing, healing and human rights. And the silent H, which we also focus on, is human trafficking, which we all want to end. We have gathered community partners from across the city and the Miami Valley region to celebrate REACH, to educate on REACH, and to advocate for REACH. Join us as we share our water protectors, our human rights, our culture, our children. We have activities for the entire family, and we are really excited, especially to celebrate Native American Heritage Month in the Miami Valley region. Yahweh.
Hi, I'm Kathy Arnett. I am a descendant of George Golden Hawk Sizemore of the Cherokee Nation, and my title or background is in water and water protection as a water steward and environmental advisor and hydrogeologist. I have been getting engaged with Indigenous Peoples Day and also with REACH, which is Reconciliation, Education, Advocacy, Ceremony, and Healing. Education and advocacy is really where I get more involved with the advocacy for water, for the land, and for the air, and water being my biggest focus area. The great thing about when we talk about water, land, and air is the fact that you can't have one without the other. They're all one environment to us. And water has been always an interest to me because it is in our air, especially in the Ohio area with the humidity. You know it right away. And the rain cleanses the air. It also cleanses the earth and shapes the earth around us. And obviously very important to us, both in our bodies, to cleanse our bodies and to nourish our bodies, but also all the animals and vegetation around us that we are so dependent on. The challenge is both our blessing and our challenge, I would put it, because we have such an abundance of water, and our aquifer is replenished so easily. What's right under our feet here is sand and gravel, and water percolates beautifully down into that. And we are able to access that water so easily in this area. Unlike places like out west where you have to go very deep into the earth to be able to find water sources, or in areas where they have to pull it out of rivers or lakes or the ocean itself and then try to clean it. Our water's pretty clean here, but our challenge is that when we have our industry that is also attracted to a great abundance of water, if contamination does happen, a spill, an accident does happen, that contamination can also quickly percolate down into the aquifer. So that can contaminate our beautiful aquifer quickly. And when I say quickly, it may be minutes, it may be days that contamination can get in contact with the rivers, with the aquifer itself, down through that sand. But to clean it up is a different story. It takes years, decades, hundreds of years in some cases, to actually get it cleaned back up. So we have to be so careful and make sure that we're paying attention, educating not only individuals, but the industries as well on how to best behave to protect that precious source. There's a combination of things. So I guess when you're talking about going into industry or into places where they really need to pay attention to best management practices, it's just being able to show them that oil or oil can that they may have there, maybe they need to put a berm around it or something in place to keep that oil from spilling and then going out into onto the lawn, onto the areas that it can, again, then start to percolate down. In the classrooms and in our education as a whole, it's really showing. To me, a lot of it is showing examples. And there are some great tools and models out there that can kind of show you what it might look like. Let's say you have a family member changing the oil in their car. Well, don't just put that dirty oil back down, because it can go right into the drain. And in this area, we're very fortunate. A lot of the drains are marked with a little fish on them, and it says drains to the river, and that's where it goes. So when that oil goes into that particular drain down into the sewer system, it exits out into the river itself. That could be quite a challenge, but unless you've learned that or know that, a lot of people don't realize that that can happen. So it's showing things like even a little model on the table, which I'm hoping we can have at Reach Fest. It'll be great. We'll be able to see how the water flows down to the river. Same thing with aquifer. Aquifer is a word that a lot of people can't get their hands or head around. But it's thinking about sand or even a sponge itself. Water can get into that sponge. It's still a sponge, but if you squeeze it, you'll see the water comes out. So there's lots of water that can get into it. Our ground around here is like that. Because of all the sand, the water can percolate down through the sand. And we have models there as well that can show how you have sand, you have water, and you put a little bit of dye in it. Simple as that. A little blue dye, and you see that blue dye move through that sand, and you can see how contamination can move so quickly. I'm excited about, for Reach Fest, we have the city of Dayton has, their water department has one of those aquifer models that shows the sand and the dye. We also have Greater Dayton Partners for the Environment. It's part of SOCHI, and they'll be able to show us the model where we have the car and the oil and the movement. So it's very exciting there. And then we also have the River Stewards. River Institute of University of Dayton is getting engaged, and they have children's books that talk more about how the aquifer and how the river works. So I'm very excited about having all three of those organizations working with us for Reach Fest.